4.53 billion years. That is how old the moon might actually be. Older than Earth's first oceans. Older than our planet's solid crust, possibly older than Earth itself by a sliver of cosmic time. And the side of it you have never seen, the far side, just gave up its first physical samples in human history. What scientists pulled out of that lunar dust is rewriting the textbook in real time. For decades, the official answer was simple. The moon formed about 4.46 billion years ago, born from a fiery collision between young Earth and a Mars-sized planet called Theia. But new analysis from researchers in the United States, France, and Germany pushes that birthday back to roughly 4.53 billion years ago. That is hundreds of millions of years earlier than the standard story we were all taught in school. Here is why that one number matters. Earth itself is about 4.54 billion years old. If the moon is 4.53 billion years old, then our planet and its companion were essentially newborns together. The moon has been pulling our tides, stabilizing our axis, and lighting our nights for nearly every single moment Earth has existed. We have never really been alone. So, how did scientists nail down that age? They went back to lunar dust collected by Apollo 17 inches 1972, sitting quietly in storage for half a century. Inside that dust were microscopic zircon crystals. Researchers sharpened the crystals into ultrafine needles, then blasted them with ultraviolet lasers, evaporating individual atoms and shooting them through a mass spectrometer. By counting lead atoms left behind by decaying uranium, they read the moon's birth certificate. Earlier estimates were off because the moon got cooked. Around 4.3 billion years ago, Earth's gravity stretched and squeezed the young moon so violently that its interior reheated. That tidal heating reset the geological clocks inside many surface rocks, making them look younger than they really were. Scientists were essentially dating a remodeled house and calling it the original construction date. Strip away the renovation, and the truth is older. Now to the side we never see. The far side of the moon is not dark. It gets just as much sunlight as the side facing us. It is simply hidden because the moon is tidally locked, meaning it spins on its axis at exactly the same rate it orbits Earth. The same hemisphere always faces us. Until 1959, no human eyes had ever seen the other half. Not once in all of history. And when we finally did see it, the far side looked completely wrong. Instead of the smooth, dark patches that form the friendly face we know, the far side was a battlefield, crater on top of crater on top of crater. Some impact scars wider than entire countries. Almost no flat lava plains. It looked like a different moon altogether. Scientists call this the lunar dichotomy, and nobody could fully explain it. The asymmetry runs deeper than the surface. The crust on the far side is roughly 20 kilometers thicker than the crust on the near side. 20 kilometers. That is more than 2 Mount Everests stacked on top of each other, hidden inside one half of the moon. Whatever happened in our moon's youth gave it 2 completely different faces, and humanity has been staring at only one of them for 4 billion years. Right at the heart of that hidden hemisphere sits a monster. The South Pole Aitken Basin, about 2,500 kilometers across, deep enough to swallow Mount Everest several times over. It is the largest, deepest, and oldest confirmed impact crater anywhere on the moon. Chinese scientists recently pinned its age down to 4.25 billion years. An ancient wound carved when the solar system itself was still a chaotic shooting gallery. Recent analysis of that basin uncovered something stranger. The debris flung out by the impact is loaded with radioactive thorium on its western side, but almost empty of it on the eastern side. That lopsided splash pattern flipped the old assumption upside down. The asteroid did not come barreling in from the south, as textbooks claimed. It came screaming down from the north at an angle nobody had modeled. Even the impact direction was wrong. For half a century, we could only guess what was actually inside the rocks of the far side. Then on June 25, 2024, that changed forever. China's Chang'e 6 spacecraft touched down inside the South Pole Aitken Basin, scooped and drilled lunar soil, and rocketed back home. The return capsule landed carrying 1,935.3 grams of material, the first physical samples in history from the side we cannot see. When Chinese labs cracked open those samples, the surprises came fast. Some of the basalt rocks were 2.83 billion years old. That means lava was still flowing on the far side at a time when scientists assumed it had gone geologically dead. The moon was not the cold sleeping ball we pictured. Its hidden hemisphere was alive, erupting, breathing fire long after the near side had largely cooled down. Then came the chemistry shock. The far side samples were strangely dry, much drier than soil collected from the near side by earlier missions. The interior of the moon, scientists now believe, is wet on one side and parched on the other. Even the water itself is unevenly distributed inside our nearest neighbor. Why? Nobody fully knows. The leading idea is that the giant South Pole Aitken impact baked the volatiles right out of the rock. There is more. The far side basalts were missing something called creep, a chemical signature loaded with potassium, rare earth elements, and phosphorus. On the near side, this stuff is everywhere. On the far side, in samples that should have shown it, it had vanished. Something fundamental shifted in the moon's interior plumbing between the older and younger eruptions. Researchers now say long-standing theories of lunar evolution have to be re-examined from scratch. The samples even hinted at an ancient magnetic field. Tiny grains in the Chang'e 6 soil carried magnetic signatures suggesting the moon's iron core was still generating a field about 2.8 billion years ago, long after most scientists believed that magnetic engine had switched off. A second wind, a late pulse from deep inside a world we thought was already dying. The moon kept secrets the near side never let slip. Now layer the timeline. 4.53 billion years ago, the moon is born from a planetary collision. 4.25 billion years ago, a giant asteroid carves out the South Pole Aitken Basin and rips the far side open. 4.3 billion years ago, Earth's gravity slow cooks the moon's insides. And 2.8 billion years ago, somehow, the far side is still erupting lava and humming with magnetism. A wild biography for a dead-looking rock. This is exactly the void where conspiracy theories love to grow. For decades, UFO watchers have insisted there are alien bases on the far side, hidden civilizations, secret structures, all conveniently out of reach of Earth telescopes. None of that has been found. Not in Apollo orbital photos, not in Chang'e 4 footage from 2019, not in the latest samples. What scientists did find is somehow stranger. A real, weirder, more violent, natural history. Why does any of this matter for you down here on Earth? Because the moon is essentially a frozen record of the early solar system. Earth's own surface has been resurfaced by plate tectonics, oceans, and wind. Our planet has erased its own childhood. The moon has not. Every crater, every basalt layer, every dry grain of regolith is a page from a 4.5 billion year diary that no other body in the inner solar system still has. And the race is just beginning. China is planning Chang'e 7 and Chang'e 8 missions targeting the lunar South Pole, hunting for water ice in permanently shadowed craters. NASA's Artemis program is aiming to put astronauts back on the surface this decade. Private companies, the European Space Agency, India, Japan, are all pushing landers and rovers toward the same gray dust. Whoever controls the far side controls the next chapter of space history. Imagine standing on that hidden hemisphere, no Earth in the sky. Just black space, stars sharper than diamonds. The ground beneath your boots older than the planet you came from. Every footprint pressed into dust that watched the solar system being born. The far side is not haunted. It is not hiding aliens. It is something far more powerful than that. It is the most honest piece of history humans have ever touched. So here is the real question. If the moon is older than the planet beneath your feet, if its far side is a wetter, drier, hotter, weirder world than scientists ever predicted, What other obvious things in our sky have we been completely wrong about? Drop your wildest theory in the comments. Alien base, ancient impact, time loop. I am reading every single one, and the next sample mission lands sooner than you think. If this video brought you value, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.